It's FA Cup weekend and Manchester City have a fourth round tie against Cheltenham Town at the Johnny Rock Stadium. We're just under an hour away until kick-off. The players, as we can see, are arriving at a cold but slightly bright and sunny, slightly sunnier than Manchester. Cheltenham Stadium right there. It's the first for both sides as they've never played each other in over 200 years of football history, and it means a lot for Cheltenham Town right there. Some of Manchester City's stars arriving to a very different stadium to the one here at the Etihad. But football awaits 90 minutes of action, and there can only be one winner at the end of it. The players are arriving, and we're good to go. And here we are. Yes, welcome to We're Not Really Here. My name is Kyle Walker, and we also have Paul Dickov and Nedum Onuoha joining us here for this one. Huge day, the magic of the Cup. Everyone talks about the FA Cup. And for Cheltenham Town, let's start with them. Nedum, it's massive for them because this is a chance for them to have the Premier League, not champions right now, but a team that's huge. One of the biggest teams in the world at their stadium.
Without question, yeah. You know, obviously you're trying to talk about the champions thing, but this is still Man City.
Yeah.
You know, and they have one of the best managers in football history. So to have those people just across from you, and this is who you're playing against, what a way to test yourself, what a time to make memories, but then also what an opportunity to try and progress in the FA Cup.
Yes, it's massive. The FA Cup can provide lots of cup sets. So, Paul, when thinking of this one, how do you think Pep's going to approach this? Because the last thing he wants is a loss today.
Yeah, it is. He'll approach it the same as he does every game, and that's to win. You know, he's shown already through his time here that in any cup games, whether it be the League Cup or the FA Cup, that he wants to win it. And going to Cheltenham, which will be a different experience for him and for the players as well. But I think they'll love it. You know, as players, they're used to getting pampered a little bit in fantastic stadiums. You know, they're going to be getting changed in a bar today. And I think they'll rise to the occasion.
I've got to jump in.
A little bit different.
I've got to jump in because I love listening to you, but I'm short in my age here because I'm sure you just said cup sets. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Did you say cup sets?
I just thought he'd got his words.
He's mixing words up or something. Did you mean cup sets?
I did mean cup sets, yeah. We've seen plenty of them over the years. We are going to be talking a little bit about them, especially some for Manchester City. But we'll focus on the positives for now because Cheltenham, League 2, 72 places below Manchester City. Mm-hmm. This is what the FA Cup is all about, isn't it? Because a chance for a lower league side to come up against a Premier League team, you love it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Obviously, they would have preferred to have had fans in the stadium and stuff like this, or maybe preferred to have even come to the Etihad. But, you know, in this day and age, to have an opportunity to play against a side like Man City, even though they're in the position that they're in, it's a great feeling. And some of those players, you know, this will be a game they'll never forget. They get a chance to go out there, give their all, see how they can perform. And who knows, you know, some people might make memories today which will last a lifetime.
And it's not just today, it's the build-up, you know, since the draw's been made. You know, a lot of these players will be doing interviews for the top TV stations and they'll be in the media spotlight as getting treated like Premier League players all the time. And, you know, they'll be absolutely buzzing. You know, I think their manager said already it's a free hit and it's a chance in a lifetime for them.
You know, as well, I've just had this epiphany. So, City go into the game and a lot of the City players have never seen Cheltenham play. But for Cheltenham, from when the draw was made, I reckon they know a lot about the City players.
Watch them every single week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what an opportunity this is for them to test themselves.
Now, for Cheltenham, this is massive. And we're going to talk about these players we can see arriving just here, how big of an opportunity it is for them. But lower league teams, do they want to come up against the Premier League teams right now? Would they not rather get a smaller team and then come up to a Premier League team a little bit later on to get further in the cup, Paul?
No, not at all. You know, I can only, honestly, I can only look at my experiences from managing Oldham, especially Oldham and then Doncaster. You know, when you're in League One, you've got your first round, you've got your second round. They 2 rounds are driven towards getting a Premier League team in the third round, and if you can get that, to get a Premier League in the fourth round. For the players, for the club, totally agree with Nedum that it's a crying shame that the fans can't be there today. You know, because it might be the only time in their history that they've got a team like Manchester City going there. But what you want is a Premier League team at home to have a go at them.
The fans can help as well, can't they? When you're coming up against a bigger team, if you're at your stadium, at the Johnny Rock Stadium just there, if you had all your home fans in, that would give you that extra little boost when you're coming up against this team.
100%. Obviously, the boost isn't necessarily going to guarantee a positive result, but it does change the nature of the game. It puts the opposition under more pressure. I think even to talk about it from a slightly different angle, when I played at Loftus Road for QPR, that is a very, very tight stadium, and a lot of teams didn't like going there because of the fact that a fan could literally be 6 feet away from you. You know, you think you can take a throw in peace, but no, they're making sure that this is a big game and you're having a tough time. So, like I was saying, to have fans in there would be massive for them, but, their fans will still be watching. This is going to be a game which is going to be watched by lots of people, and for the players, it's a great test.
I used to take some abuse at Loftus Road, by the way. You can hear absolutely every single thing that they say.
Now, we can see that the fans are there in spirit. There's cardboard cutouts, it seems, at the stadium. Plus, there's been a virtual tickets have been sold by the club, and lots of Manchester City fans have got in on that. So it is nice to see that they are supporting each other. It's very nice sat up here, sat at the dizzy heights in the Premier League. But Manchester City, they've not always been there, Nedum, and it's just nice that we can acknowledge that another team, this is a great opportunity for them, and we can kind of support each other.
Yeah, for sure. All that stuff is good, it's great. Obviously, the football is the main thing. But the fact that you can show that level of support is great, because this is the thing that unites us, football. It doesn't matter whether you support a team that's the best in the league or a team that's going to be part-time. Like, we all love the game and we all understand what the FA Cup means to everybody. So to see City getting involved is fantastic. To see the fans getting involved, trying to help Cheltenham, it's great. You think you'd have a relationship with the team, but like you've said, this is the first time the two sides are playing each other, but they're united by the game itself.
Yeah, and I think that City fans know what it's like to be down there as well, and know what it's like to be struggling financially. So, as soon as the tie came out and it came up about City fans supporting them, it was all over social media, and it was a fantastic gesture from everybody.
It was indeed. Right, let's put this niceness aside just for a little bit, all right? Let's talk about the game, the rivalry, the FA Cup, huge competition. We know it's one of the most prestigious competitions in this country, definitely. So these two are going head-to-head. And Manchester City will be confident. The run of form they've put together, especially in the Premier League as recently as Aston Villa a few days ago, they're going to be super confident, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. But the confidence itself doesn't necessarily come from, say, what they're doing in the league. The confidence comes from being in a building whereby the expectation is to win every single game. And from when you're selected to be part of that group, your mentality is solely about winning. They start the season, I think they're probably one of the only teams in English history, you could argue, where at the start of the season, it's like we want to win the league, the cups, the Champions League, everything. It's almost like that's the expectation. So when you go into the FA Cup, even if they've done well in the league or they've made changes, the mentality of the playing staff remains the same, because when you're coached by someone like Pep, winning is the standard.
It's nice to have an attacking player and a defender either side of me for this goal right here, because it's definitely split opinion this week. According to the rules, it's not offside. That is it. But there's been lots of conversation around it, Paul. Let's say that.
Never offside. You know what really annoys me about it, though? There's been that much talk about was it offside, wasn't offside, and look, it is a bit of a ridiculous rule. I think we'll agree on that. But it's taken away from the finish from Bernardo Silva. The way he gets the ball out his feet and puts it in the top corner, it's a fantastic finish, but everything that surrounded it is taking the gloss off of that. But, couple of controversial decisions, but that was a big win the other night there. Villa came here and played really well, and we dug in and got the 3 points, which was the main thing.
And we scored a penalty, which was nice. It was very nice. I always trusted that Ilkay Gundogan was going to put that in the back of the net. For Manchester City, though, again, that's just about building that momentum, and they don't want to upset that today, do they? Because it's been going so long in that Premier League, up to 6 games, I think it is now. We've got that record that only 6 games, but compared to everyone else in the league, it's huge. We're climbing up that table right there, and it just puts us in a great position to come into the FA Cup and to actually keep that going. Yeah,
again, I have to totally agree. The way that the team is, they're obviously in a good run of form, which it makes a huge difference at this time of the season. But then again, the FA Cup, there's no, you just want to go and win these games. People want to try and get to the final. People want to get the opportunity to win the competition. And they're feeling confident. They're playing well. They get it. The manager's very confident with the teams that he keeps putting out, because they keep doing what he's asking of them. So it doesn't matter who they play at this point, whether it's Cheltenham in the FA Cup or whether it's Chelsea on a Tuesday, they're going to play the same way.
Do players know when it's a different game? And that might sound a bit silly, but they always say we've got to focus on this game and then we just play our next opponents. Do you know it's a different competition? Do you play differently because of that competition, or do you just go out there and play the game?
I would say, obviously I've not been a manager like Paul has, but I would say as a player, in some clubs, yes, it's different. because they almost see the first FA Cup or second FA Cup round as being like a bit of a rest time because they've played so many games, some players. But for what sets some players apart from others is that some are driven to continually play to 100% regardless of who the opposition is. And I think in this space now, they do have a team where, like I said before, as long as the grass is green and the ball is round, Pep Guardiola will play his team in a certain way, and the players will have to match that standard, or they won't play again. So like I say, it doesn't matter if it's the FA Cup, the League, the Champions League, and so on. You're going to get performance from City, which you're used to seeing, regardless, as I say, of who the opposition is.
And it's the mentality, not just the players, but the coaching staff and the manager as well. And look, no disrespect to Cheltenham, but I guarantee you that a lot of the players would never have heard of any of the Cheltenham players before the draw was made. But going into the game today in, 45 minutes' time, whatever it is, they will know everything. They'll know how Cheltenham play, they'll know what individuals, because they're that thorough. And they want to go out there. Look, we all know there's going to be changes today, but the ones that are coming in have got a point to prove as well. You know, they want to be involved in every single game, and they want to win trophies, as they've shown over the last few years.
Right, let's hear from Pep Guardiola. He's been giving his thoughts ahead of today's FA Cup game.
Pep, you joked about not wanting alcohol left in the room you're changing in. You're now at Whaddon Road. It's a very different match day. What do you make of it?
No, the competition itself, playing away, that's why the FA Cup is so nice, so interesting for everyone. Everything can happen, and yeah, prepare as best as possible to go through.
You've been on a brilliant run of form. What are your team going to need to do today to ensure you aren't victims of what would be a huge cup upset?
First is know the opponent, tell them to the players the strength that they have. So because they have their own qualities that we don't find usually. So his thrower is better than one corner, one free kick, and they create a lot of problems. And of course it's an important game for us, for them, and what you have to do, impose our game, what we thought we can do, and play a good game.
The FA Cup is a competition that you've done very well in as a manager during your time in England. It's obviously a very congested season. You're still in so many competitions. Where does it rank in your priorities?
Every season is congesting. So the priority is the next game. It's not one competition itself. So who's the next game? Try to do well and try to win. This is the best way to become a big club. Like everybody knows that no matter which competition you play, you have to do it well.
Brilliant. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Guardiola there sharing his thoughts ahead of that match at the Johnny Rock Stadium against Cheltenham. I will say the reporter there didn't say cup set. She said cup upset. So I'm going to change the way that I say it from now on. Nedum, Pep seems quite confident, but I think there's a lot of respect between the two teams. He does understand that Cheltenham are going to want to provide a cup upset today, and they're going to go out there and give it their all.
Yeah, totally. Like something that Paul said in terms of how Pep would prepare the team and let them know about what the opposition is. Pep basically just came and confirmed their support. You know, you could be a manager one day, you know. You literally could be a manager.
I played football manager for 5.5 years, mate, and I wasn't very good at it. So.
Exactly, but it's fair and right though, because it's about identity and it's about respect. So Pep knows the Cheltenham team. You know, for as much as you wouldn't think that he does, he takes every game seriously, which is why he's found so much success in his managerial career so far. So nothing surprises me here, and I think they're going to be ready for them.
The other thing about Pep and the City players, this will be one of the biggest cup sets.
Cup upsets. Cup upsets. Come on, guys.
In the history of the FA Cup, if it happened, and they won't want to put their name to that either. And Pep will be driving that into the players.
Definitely. He has this sense of professionalism, but you know that in that changing room before kick-off, he's going to be telling them to go out there, play the way he wants. The training, all the work they've done, there's 110%, if you can say that at all times. He expects them from that every single game, and I think we're going to see that today as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing about Man City and other teams who are towards the top of the pyramid at the moment, their identity comes from consistency. So, as I say, they don't just perform well in the games against teams who are up there. They perform the same way to the teams who are down at the bottom. You know, the intensity, the preparation is all the same. And I think for me as a player, because I went through 5-6 years, I was playing for a team who just stank in the FA Cup basically every year. But it's because they'd make 11 changes. But that wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was the fact that the managers, they changed their tone and the way that they were preparing the players for it. So it felt as if they didn't care. And, as players, you don't want to blame other people for something, but I felt there was a spell when we were more underprepared for the FA Cup than we were for league games. But that's not going to be the case with
the big thing as well, and what I love about the FA Cup, and I've been on both sides of it, is there's two different types of egos that goes with both teams. And what I mean by that, the Cheltenham manager and the players will be saying, these guys are Billy Big Time, they think they're in the Premier League. Come on, let's show them. Let's show them the dirty stuff like. Let's show them what it's like to be lower league. And the Premier League team will be like, let's show them what it takes to be Premier League players. And it's the two sides of it that I find really interesting, because I've been in both camps. You've been the underdog and you go out there and you're playing against these superstars and you're like, I'm going to show him what it's all about. And then when you're the big team playing against the lower team, you want to drill them in and let them know what it takes to be a Premier League player.
I don't think there's any question about the hunger or desire of any Manchester City player, but when the Cheltenham Town players are coming up against them, it's almost as if they've got something to prove, or they want to prove something. They're on the TV, they're playing against one of the best teams in the country. They're going to want to show the whole world what they're capable of over that 90 minutes.
Yeah, the players of Cheltenham and just most of these cup situations, like, this is your chance to test yourself against the best. Some people say they want to be the very best, but do you have what it takes to be there? And it's not very often that you will be presented with an opportunity to do so. So when you come up against that person that's across from you, can you win that battle? If you win that battle, how far will that take you on in your career? So if you're somebody who has this battle now and you shy away from it, inevitably maybe you might not make it to the highest level. But what an opportunity it is for those players on the field.
Brilliant point, because when I was at Oldham, for instance, and made some big cup draws, I used to say to the players, look, we're doing it for the team, we're doing it for the club. But this one game could define your career. How many times have we seen lower league players playing against Premier League teams, having one good performance, and then they get a move afterwards? And I had it, we spoke about Big Matt Smith, who had signed from non-league, just come out of university, played against Liverpool, scored 2 goals, went on to have a fantastic career through doing it. And I'm not saying that Matt didn't have it to go in and do it, but that one game put him up there in the spotlight. It gets people coming to watch you. You score another couple of goals. DJ Campbell a few years ago was the same. Non-league, went and scored against Brentford, scored against Chelsea. Next thing you get moves, and it can define these players' careers going into the game.
So I need to find a non-league club. I need to get a couple of goals, and who knows? Pep might be calling me up at some point. Nedum, don't say anything about that right there.
Nothing needs to be said. Nothing needs to be said.
Right, we can have a look at how Manchester City do line up for this 4th round tie today. We can look at the starting lineup. Zach Stefan in goal. Then we've got Benjamin Mendy, Aymeric Laporte, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Eric Garcia, Fernandinho, Tommy Doyle, Ferran Torres, Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez and Gabriel Jesus. On the bench, you've got Edison, Ruben Diaz, Alexander Zinchenko, João Cancelo, Rodrigo, Ilkay Gundogan, Adrian Bernabe, Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling. 10 changes for Manchester City. Only Phil Foden keeps his spot after that game against Aston Villa right there. And I feel like, Paul, when we quickly let's just talk about that, that's a great team for 10 changes.
It's not a bad team, is it? Bench is slightly weak, though, I would say, on that front. But look, I'm delighted to see, obviously, Taylor in there and young Tommy Doyle as well. Got some fantastic players, some fantastic talent and loads of experience. I think if you're the Cheltenham team and you get that team coming in, it's going to slightly deflate you if they're saying they're making lots of changes. But it just shows you how serious Pep's taking it.
It does. I mean, Nedum, you came through the academy. I actually remember watching you at Platt Lane.
Okay.
When you were playing.
Okay.
I was very young at that point.
Yeah. I bet.
How does it feel coming through that academy and getting that chance in the first team? Tommy Doyle, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Eric Garcia even as well. They've had multiple opportunities, but as a youngster, it must still feel quite special when you're starting a game.
If you buy into the culture and you buy into the football club, it's truly, truly special. Because from my time there were some people who were there who, they say, I'm not really a City fan, I'm not really this, not really that. But for some of these kids, these are real Man City fans. These are real Man City people. So to go through the ranks every year means something. Then you get closer to the first team, it means something again. And now you get an opportunity to wear the shirt, to go out and play in something like the FA Cup, to be playing alongside some players who you've looked up to for a few years. This is, it was, for me, it was amazing, and I think that's still the case now for people coming through the academy. But the best thing about it is these players who are being put forward now, it's not just because they're from the academy, it's because they're good enough. So the academy is creating players who are capable of playing alongside of someone like a Fernandinho, and that just really shows that the future should be right for the club.
And you've got that experience there in a player like that. Even training alongside them, you must learn so much from them. But then being able to play the game, being able to go to Cheltenham Town in the FA Cup, I'm guessing a lot of these players, especially youngsters, have watched the FA Cup growing up. They know how special it is.
Yeah.
They're going to grab this opportunity, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think Pep would throw them out there if they weren't ready. And it's good in some ways that they're playing at Cheltenham Town, because I think for some of the players coming through City's academy now, they're used to seeing a certain type of football and just completely dominating and stuff like this. But now when you go out and face men where this is their livelihood, who will play in a game and say, depending on how they want to play, it might just be, let's just get in their faces, let's make it physical, let's really test them. I think you have to step up, not just as a technical player, but as somebody who's tough enough to be able to perform at the highest level.
But do you think, Nedum, that the two that he's put in Taylor and Tommy, because exactly what you said, they know what it's like to be Manchester City players, Manchester City fans, come from the area, grown up watching the FA Cup. I think that's why they two, especially out of all the young kids, are in there today, because they will know what it's all about.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I say it's great to see them go in there. And even though Pep, as I say, has made 10 changes for this game today, I think a big difference between now and, say, years gone by is you make 10 changes and the team might not be its absolute peak in terms of talent, but it's not a weak team. That is a team which is probably going to beat 95% of teams in this league anyway.
We can see some of the Cheltenham players warming up right there. Let's go through their team. In goal, Griffiths. Then they've got Raglan, Tozer, Boyle, Blair, Freestone, Thomas, Clements, Azaz, Lloyd and May. And on the bench, they've got Flinders, Harris, Long, Bowry, Adai, Ebanks and Williams, facing against a Manchester City team that is very, very strong. But we'll park them to the side for 1 minute, because, Paul, you know some of the players that are in and involved at Cheltenham Town because you've managed them before.
Yeah, well, actually, Scotty Flinders I played with at Crystal Palace for a little bit, and he'll be gutted he's on the bench today, actually. A big character. Andy Williams was always on the bench I signed when I was at Doncaster, and Matty Blair and Alfie May were two players I was looking to bring in to Doncaster before I left, who they eventually signed. But, they're good players, and, having seen a lot of football at that level, there's some talented boys down there. There is a reason why they're at that level, and it's mainly because of the mentality and the attitude isn't quite right, but as an ability-wise, a lot of these players are good. Raglan's came through Premier League academies, big, strong centre-half, who'll be looking to kick everything that moves today, as I'm sure a lot of the Cheltenham players will do. But I think from City's point of view, it's bursting their bubble early doors, first 10 minutes, because said already it's the biggest game of their lives, and they'll be massively up for it. And I think when you come up against that, it's important that early on in the game that you put your stamp down.
Yeah, definitely. I think Manchester City will be hoping to do that. Going back to the 10 changes that Pep's made for today's match, when you're competing in the Premier League, the FA Cup, League Cup final as well, plus the Champions League, to be able to rotate the squad so much and bring in 10 new faces into this game, that is going to help you long term, isn't it? Because this season is ruthless for the players.
Yeah, it seems like just games every 3-4 days. And, for some players, they love that because you're continually in a rhythm. Like, you might miss out in terms of, say, fun and stuff they'd be having in training. But, it's the business of playing games. The business of winning games is great. But the squad that City have assembled, it's so good and so deep now that, they can make changes. And I think that's down to the recruitment and their vision for what would be required, essentially, to be successful. Because, if you're going to go for 4 trophies, essentially, every single year, you're not going to be able to do it with just 13, 14 players. And now you can see they have at least 20 to 25 who, are more than capable of winning any game that's in front of them.
Now, we're seeing the highlights from Manchester City's third-round tie against Birmingham City. And, a few of the assists, a few of the goals, the finishes. Paul, this team is so special. The ball from Mahrez to Kevin De Bruyne. It's normally Kevin that's doing those. We've seen him do that before. And Bernardo Silva getting on the score sheet. It feels like with Bernardo, he's coming back to that 2017-18 peak that we saw him hit.
Yeah, he has. He's been fantastic. He's been in and out this season. But the last month or so, he's really come to the fore. And I think one thing we're missing as well, we're talking bigging up the game against Cheltenham, the lower league team. and it being the FA Cup, how are City going to react? You know, our cup record over the last 3-4 years has been outstanding. You know, we've had to go places in lower leagues. We've had to come up against teams that we wouldn't normally come up against, that might cause a surprise or two, or get everybody behind the ball, players that we don't really know. But they've coped with it. You know, we've won the FA Cups, we've won the League Cup by playing against lower league teams. So the mentality in the team is fantastic, and we'll see that again today.
We will indeed. How difficult must it be for a team that you're 3-0 down at half-time like Birmingham were, and then you've got to go out into that second half? If that happens again today, let's say Manchester City get an early goal, they get an early lead, how difficult is that for the opposition team to coming up against Manchester City to try and get something back?
I think it depends, because if you're talking about difficulty in terms of winning, then yes. But if it's difficulty in terms of performance, then I think you have bigger issues, because you can be 3-0 down to City, and it can be, it's demoralising because you thought you were going to win the game. But the fact is, you can still control your performance. And I think if people get their heads down, then I think they miss the opportunity. So even though City are going to be overwhelming favourites for this game, and chances are they might score a lot of goals, it doesn't mean to say that some of those players on that team might not have such a strong performance that it springboards them towards the second half of their season. It's not just the case if you're 3-0 down, the game's over, you walk off. We're not playing FIFA here. It's deeper than that. You're 3-0 down, it's at half time. Right, let's go out, lads. Can we win the second half? There are always games within games which are going on, and that's ultimately what drives you as a player.
We've got to embrace it, regardless of what happens. As long as, like Nedum says, as long as they walk off it, and it's an old cliche, after 90 minutes, 95 minutes, knowing that they've gave everything they've got, you can't ask for any more. Everybody knows there's a massive golfing quality. The one thing you don't do when you are the underdog is embarrass yourself, and that comes down to personal pride.
Yeah, I would say the key for me, if you're playing against a team who are overwhelming favourites, is just don't take a backward step, because from the moment you do, you'll just be run over by these teams like City, who are just essentially juggernauts. You take a forward step and see how they react to it, because as I say, if you decide not to, you're just there for the taking.
Now, it is FA Cup. We always talk about the magic of the Cup, and for you guys, you featured in the FA Cup, you've played in it. Have you got any stories that you can tell us? Paul, I want to start with you, because this is such a special trophy that you grow up with. You see it, being able to participate in it, to play in it. You think of the glory, you think of Wembley, you think of the finals, but to get there, it's a difficult one. You've got to go to the smaller grounds.
Yeah, you have, and look, I've seen both sides of it. I was very fortunate enough at a very young age to be involved in the Arsenal squad that won the FA Cup in 1993, and being part of the squad. Well, I like to say part of the squad. I think I was just there to carry the skips in and do the boots and clean, and then obviously, the famous game when I was Oldham manager, when we beat Liverpool, that had a team with Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher, Raheem played in it, Suarez, Sturridge, which was a fantastic, probably one of the highlights of my career, was being able to beat a team like that, and just fantastic. And what I will say about the Liverpool players that day, we talk about the mentality and the professionalism of the Man City players, that we just beat them 3-2, and they were raging, because basically we didn't play any football, we just went out there and beat them up, but which was something that they weren't used to. But to a man, every one of them came into the changing room after the game and congratulated our players. And talking about the fans not being there, our fan base at Oldham wasn't that big. We would average between 4,000 and 5,000. We sold out 10,800 that day. And it really got us over the line. So loads of fantastic memories for different reasons, and being in both sides of the coin. Yeah,
definitely. I think just from that management side of things, I could ask you so many questions, which we'll come on to in a few moments' time. Nedum, for you, magic of the Cup, any special moments?
Listen, of all the questions I've been asked so far in my career, this one that you've just presented to me is one which doesn't come with a good answer. So, for me personally, I was never at a team whereby if we won, it was a huge shock. And also, I was never really playing for a team in a moment where we went on a good run. So what I will say, magical moments, is listening to the opposition at a smaller club who's just beaten us at their home, celebrating, laughing at us. So, yeah, thanks for that question. But I always wanted to do well, but unfortunately, I was never really part of a group that did. But, it's unfortunate it's like that sometimes. Only one team can win. I was never anywhere near it.
Oh. But I love the FA Cup, and it was, going back to that Arsenal time, it was drummed into me at a very early age how important it was. And you talk about top players taking it serious, in that changing room there was Tony Adams, Steve Bold, David Seaman, Ian Wright, top players, and all they spoke about throughout that run was how important the FA Cup was. And as a young kid coming through, hearing players that are winning Premier Leagues, that are, Ian Wright at the time was Golden Boot, European Golden Boot winner, England's number 9, what it meant to them as a young kid coming through really drove into me the importance of the FA Cup.
Very special time here. It is a FA Cup weekend. Manchester City taking on Cheltenham Town. Now, a special time as well was winning the FA Cup back in 1904, and City TV have put together a very special documentary documenting just how special that moment was, and we can take a look at a little bit of it now.
These players were really turned into our first poster boys, our first heroes. People would collect cigarette cards with their faces on. Tom Maley became manager in 1902, and the club was in the second division, and Tom Maley immediately turned this into an attack-minded team, an exciting team, and we got promoted as champions that year. And that sort of excitement of getting promoted as champions, it carried on. On the way to the cup final, City have played Sunderland, they played Middlesbrough. The home game against Middlesbrough was the highest crowd that had ever been assembled for a City or United game. They had also played Arsenal, and then they played Sheffield Wednesday. And so Sheffield Wednesday were this major team. We played them in the semi-final. Crowds were increasing, the excitement was increasing. And so by the time of that semi-final, the atmosphere was quite significant. And then when they beat Wednesday and got to that cup final, it was incredible. And it was really between the semi-final and the final that football started to matter to Manchester a bit more.
Make sure you do check that out there, the 1904 documentary on City Plus. Now, from 1904 to 2021 and right back into the modern day, we're talking Fortnite, all right, and we've got a very special little bit of news for you. I love to play games, and with Fortnite, we've got something special that brings my love for Manchester City and my love for video games together as well. The Man City skins are available from Sunday for a week, only a week, all right, so make sure you do get yours to ensure that you do rep Manchester City with pride in the game. Now, we also had the FaZe City Cup featuring Fortnite on Thursday, the 21st of January, and there was 100 top duos who won early access to the Man City skin. So if you have been playing the game, you might have seen some of those duos repping Manchester City in the game already, all right? We had nearly 300,000 players register for the event, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again very, very soon. Now, lots of people all over the world love to play Fortnite, including the Belgian Prince. Yes, Kevin De Bruyne, he loves Fortnite, and I've heard he's quite good at it. Let's take a clip of him.
It's Bizzle! That's
Bizzle.
the big Kev!
No way! No way!
Oh, that's too good.
I killed Bizzle! Oh.
Now you can hear the excitement in Kevin's voice right there, being able to kill Bizzle. We can see FaZe's Nate Hill as well. He was on the screen. So if you do, make sure you do get them this week. When we've got another We're Not Really Here on Tuesday, okay, make sure you do show us them, all right? Use that hashtag WNRH. I want to see your Manchester City Fortnite players, all right? Now, it wasn't just me getting excited about this. Oh, no. We had someone who went excited about it. Let's see this clip right here. It went viral. It was a young fan spotting something very special in the game.
Watch this. Look. Give her a second. It's the guy from Fortnite!
And you can see the Manchester City skin right there in Fortnite. Ensure that you do get that. It is available on Sunday for 1 week only. Paul, you're going to get that, right? You're going to be playing Fortnite this week, yeah?
100%.
That's all we have to say on that one right there. It's incredible seeing how far this club has come. Honestly, for me as a Manchester City fan growing up, now having people all over the world getting access to these markets where kids from all over the world will know who Manchester City were. We've come a long way from Platt Lane to worldwide, Nedum, haven't we?
Yeah, Platt Lane seems a long time ago, but it is incredible to see, and it's good that the club itself has kept its history, but it's adapted to modern times as well. You know, you could have just decided to just stay in and just go through traditional methods and so on, but fan bases are changing. You know, if you're not going to be looking for people in terms of esports and so on, then you're ultimately going to be missing out. But people want to support the club, but they want to do it in sort of arguably non-traditional ways. So to see what's going on Fortnite, you know, those impressions make a big difference. You know, as I say, the days are gone whereby you're just reading something in a paper. Because now, you know, people your age, you know, you live in a completely different world to me. Because I'm like Paul, thought Fortnite was like 2 weeks, but now apparently, you know, we're in a different place now.
Let's not go down the age of it. Yeah, next.
Yeah. Let's move on from that. Paul, we've briefly mentioned your time as a manager coming up against Liverpool when you were managing Oldham. Let's put you into Michael Duff's shoes. All right, he's the Robins boss. How does he make it tricky for Manchester City today? Because it's against all odds. He said it's the biggest free hit possible this game. How does he make it tricky for them?
By making it a horrible game from the start, you know, and going back to even when the draw came up against Liverpool. The Oldham players, we didn't really talk about it up until the week that we were playing them. Constantly thinking about what do you do in training when you're coming up against a Liverpool team with all the players I spoke about beforehand. And in the end I decided that we just played five-a-side all week, because I thought if I'm going to talk about Liverpool's players, and you know at the time Suarez and Sturridge were the top pairing, not just in the Premier League but in Europe, and I think if I keep talking to them about all these wonderful players, mentally they're going to go into the game and they're probably going to be panicking a little bit. So we just actually City were fantastic. It was snowing in Oldham, shock, and we couldn't train, so we trained at Platt Lane all week in the indoors, and all we done was just the five-a-side competitions. When we got the team sheet in on the Sunday, usually you write the opposition players up and everything else in there before, and you run through what they're going to do. I didn't have to tell them what they were going to do. They watched them every single week, and match of the day and a Saturday night, and I didn't want to get into their heads, and basically we just wanted to upset them, and I tried to be positive with the players. We went attacking. We ended up playing 4-3-1-2. Just to try and get into them with two centre forwards and big Matt Smith and Robbie Simpson, who were 6'1", 6'2". We wanted to get into Liverpool early doors, and had some quality in there. Had Jose Baxter, who was the youngest ever player to play for Everton, and just wanted to get the ball in there and give them something that they hadn't been used to before. You know, if we tried to play it from the back against a Liverpool team, they would have swallowed us up, you know, so we just wanted to mix it up. And more than anything else, like I said before, I just said to the players, go out and do yourself justice. You know, you're all really good lads, you've worked really hard, so go out there and just come off the pitch with no regrets. And I think it's attitude over ability. I say that a lot of the time, and definitely for that 90 minutes that was the case.
One thing that will definitely be different for Manchester City is the stadium, but also where they're getting changed ahead of the game. Michael Duff has said they'll be getting changed in a bar. Yes, in the team bar, they'll be getting changed. It's all the beer's been taken out of it, apparently. The chairs have been set up, so they've got not the fancy dressing room or changing rooms anymore. They've got a stool that they're going to sit on, they're going to get changed on. And Nedum, that's going to be a bit of a shock to some of these players.
Yeah, I've heard the dressing room down at the Etihad is pretty different now, you know. But the fact is, they're still playing the game. And when you talk about, you know, how it's a big change and this, that, and the other, all these players, they came through academies, they came through whatever. Like, they were playing amateur football. If they're shocked by this, then, you know, they really have had an incredible movement to this point. But the fact is, a chair is a chair. The opportunity is there to put the shirt on, to go out and play the game. The stuff in the dressing room doesn't matter, whether you have a TV in there, sound on, whatever. You're just getting ready for a game, getting ready for a big game. And I think the mentality amongst that squad there is, you know, that's the most important thing. Because if you want to cry about the fact that your chair is like, it doesn't recline, then, you know, then what game are you really playing here?
Yeah, I want to talk about some of the weirdest places that you guys have had to prepare for a match then, before any game it could have been. Paul, have you ever had the opposition trying to put you off or do anything in the away changing rooms, let's say, for you that's not got into your head, but they're definitely trying to do that?
Yeah, loads of time, you know, back in the day, going back to the old Wimbledon ground where, You would walk in, there would be no heating on. Players used to like to soak their boots in hot water sometimes. No hot water in the changing room. Electricity wouldn't work, so you couldn't put... Just all the old school things, you know, and... went to Weston-super-Mare in the Cup once as well, and the coach, where the ground was, the street wasn't big enough to get the coach down, so we had to park like a mile and a half away and walk into the stadium beforehand through the fans, all things like that. But so Nedum talking there about how the boys react in the changing room, they'll love it. I used to love things like that. Yeah. You know, the old school things, something different. You know, you've got to rise to the occasion. And the mentality in this team, that won't bother them at all. But it used to drive me on, knowing that the opposition team were trying to do little bits to try and upset you and put you off your stride. I would think, like, come on, bring it on.
Have you ever had any weird experiences before a game?
I've had a couple of walks to the stadiums, which has always been fun when you're getting heckled and stuff like that. But nothing too weird. I've been to a few stadiums, like I think it was Fratton Park, where the dressing room's no bigger than the studio itself for like 40 people. That's usually good fun. But then I think there's been a few times where we've gotten changed on the bus as well. And for me, like, I don't care. Like, game's a game. Like, all these inconveniences, it kind of reveals who you are as a person. Because if you're crying about it before you kick off, then chances are you'll be crying about something else during the game. But for other people, it's like it's like a way to unite you. You know what I mean? It's a talking point. It's like, oh my God, really? It's freezing here, isn't it? You know what I mean? But yeah, it was one time on a bus, and I didn't care. But one of my old goalkeepers, Alex Smithers, he's very particular about his routine. At this time, he must do this. At this time, he must do that. And he was basically getting changed and doing limbo up and down the bus because he needed to do this at exactly an hour before kickoff. And I thought, this is kind of nutty, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
It's fun. That's what makes it a special night tonight, Paul.
It is. Yeah, said I used to love it. I'm sure the players will as well. You know, change the scenery, something different. Test not just for their professionalism but for their mentality as well. And you know, these are top players because their mentality is absolutely bang on, not just because the ability they've got, it's because their attitude, their mentality, and their will to win is up there with the very best, and they'll thrive in this.
It will indeed. Right, one man that's not featuring this evening is my namesake, Kyle Walker. The other one, I'm allowed to do that, nobody else is. But he has sat down with City TV to do some quick-fire questions, talking all about his time at Manchester City.
Kyle, do you remember your first match for City?
Yes, Brighton away.
Can you remember the score?
2-0.
And what do you think of your performance on that day?
It was the man of the match, which was always good to get for your first game for Manchester City, obviously from moving clubs, so it went pretty well.
Well, you must have done a good job, Vincent, because Carl's one man of the match. Can you present that?
Excuse me? Yeah, congratulations, mate. Too many more.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Do you remember your first goal for City?
Newcastle at home.
Score?
3-1.
1 down?
2-1. Yeah, 2-1. I got the winner, so it was all right.
Space Walker will drive it. Goals! What an absolutely stunning effort from Kyle Walker.
Do you remember your first red card for City?
Yes, I do. My first home game, Everton.
Bit harsh, wasn't it?
I thought very harsh. I had a word with Calvert-Lewin on this England trip, to be fair, which it was still playing in my mind. But the decision was made, and we got the draw, which was probably, a good result in the end.
And it is a second yellow card for Kyle Walker, who is sent off.
The first time you went in goal for City?
In training all the time, as I think that I'm a bit of a cat, but in a competition, UEFA Champions League against Atalanta at the San Siro.
What was your nickname growing up?
Des.
You've got to tell us the story.
So we used to play Mario Karts at Sheffield United, and obviously everyone knew how much I love and care for Sheffield United, but Matthew Kilgallen decided to call me Des after Des Walker. So it was like, you'll never beat Des Walker, but you'll never beat Kyle Walker.
What do you think's been your best game for City?
I'd like to say there was a few. I feel that the the Southampton game where I scored the late goal. Just personally, the games that have probably made the difference in. I feel that, you know, not just me, but a lot of the lads probably couldn't pick just one. There's been a number because we've gone and achieved so much.
This the type of grit and determination that wins titles.
The best goal you've seen by another City player while you've been on the pitch?
Vincent Kompany.
Laporte needs an outlet, gets it from his captain. Kompany perhaps will have a shot here. That's a dig! And how about that? How about that? Kompany!
What's it like playing under Pep Guardiola?
No day is the same, and every day is a learning day.
Which is the teammate that's most likely to injure you in a training session?
Before Vincent, now probably Fernandinho.
Kyle Walker there talking all about his time at Manchester City. We're going to talk a little bit about some of those moments in a few moments' time. But first, let's jump into some social media. You can get in touch with us, all right? Make sure that you do use the hashtag WNRH, all right? And some people that have done that, well, one that's been doing that whilst enjoying the snow. Let's start with Dominic Marley, all right, at Dominic Marley on Twitter. Hashtag Bert, I think is the name of the snowman. And James, ready for the FA Cup game between Man City and Cheltenham Town. Come on, you Blues. And a great snowman right there with a hat and a Manchester City scarf and the little one social distancing in the background. Next, we've got Poppy_MCFC. This is the cutest thing ever. This was Santan, the name of the dog, in his City top as a pup. Now, Poppy, if you are watching, I need you to get in touch and let us know the breed of the dog, because I think it's a Cavapoo. I'm not too sure, all right? So let us know, confirm that, because that is very, very cute right there. Next up, we've got Helen Evans at Man City at Cheltenham Town. Theo is set for the game later with his virtual ticket. Come on, City. It's so great to see so many Manchester City fans supporting all the virtual tickets that Cheltenham have put online. Then we've got Chicago MCFC, the branch all the way in the States. It's currently -17 in Chicago. So let's remind ourselves of warm, sunny days and being together as we cheer on Man City from our homes today. Yeah, much sunnier in the picture right there. I can see shorts and flip-flops. You can't do that in -17. You can't even do that in Manchester right here either. We've got Julie, Julesy B. The Christmas gift finally arrived yesterday. He was so overwhelmed. The biggest Edison fan at Man City. Your fans in Canada. Enjoy. Don't break any windows or get in any trouble like me when I had a football net in my front living room. And then last one, we've got Izzy Hall. She says, here's my match day photo, hashtag WNRH. Lizzie, we can't wait to have you back here at the Etihad. Hopefully that will be very, very soon. Do make sure that you use that hashtag WNRH. We want to see how you are using or watching the game today. Make sure you do use that hashtag right there. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to kick off. Manchester City FA Cup action taking on Cheltenham. I'm going to come to predictions in a few minutes' time. And Nedum, this team here, 10 changes, but still so much attacking firepower.
Yeah, you asked me questions as well. I just have to agree with you. Yeah. This is killing me. But yeah, there is so much attacking power in there. You're looking at Gabriel Jesus, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, Ferran Torres. Like, these are all really good goal scorers. So I think they're all going to be trying to put the name in, in history for this game and just get on the mark, just get some goals. So I think it's nice to see 10 changes and a team doesn't become weak is a very, very strong statement. And I think a lot of those players there, they'll be looking to get into the league team as well. So I expect some big performances. I'll
ask you a nice open question now. No Kevin De Bruyne, no Kyle Walker through injuries. How do you think that will affect the team today? Do you think it will?
they'll miss their presence, but as far as the way the team plays, no. I think that's such a privileged position to be in now, whereby the personnel can add something, but it doesn't take away from what the identity of the football club is. So, yes, everybody will miss a Kevin De Bruyne because of the bit extra that he has, and the same for a Kyle Walker. But, you know, you look at the starting 11, you look at the people on the bench, and it's fair to say if the game's not going their way, I think they're plenty capable of making changes to bring it back.
And one man that is on the bench there, Raheem Sterling. Paul, we can see him, the breath, we can see his breath. It's so cold, it's so chilly, but that's not going to change anything, is it? He's going to be sat on that bench. He's got his big gloves on right there. I'm sure he'll be eager to get on, won't he?
Not having gloves, but anyway. No, he will do. He will do. But they all will. But look, the players that are out there will hopefully get the job done. You know, it's a fantastic team, as Nedum said. Attacking quality all the way through it. You've got the experience of Fernandinho. And then the youth, obviously, of Taylor Bellis and Tommy Doyle. And I'm really pleased for they two, you know, because they've done ever so well for the under-23s, the EDS team. They've been in and out the team. And it's a big game for them today and a fantastic game for them to be involved in.
There is indeed. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a fact and a stat. I like to just chuck these out here, okay? So since losing against Wigan 1-0 in the 5th round in February 2018, we'll forget about that one, Man City have won their last 7 FA Cup games against sides from a lower division by an aggregate score of 26-4. Plenty of goals right there. That is a great record. So we're going to be coming on to predictions a little bit later on. It feels like Manchester City are now starting to find their goal scoring boots. They've done that at the beginning of the season, but now it feels like they're really, the cogs are starting to turn.
Yeah, they are. And I think the best thing for me is the fact that there's a spread with the goals. You know, they're not solely relying on one player, whereby if that player steps out, you lose everything. You know, people are chipping in. Phil Foden, I think he's currently top scorer. Sterling scoring his goals. You've got Mahrez scoring his goals. You've got Torres scoring his goals. You know, it's a great position to be in where you can share goals like that. And I think for City going forward, that could make a huge difference. Because, you know, you go through the seasons where the club's been the most successful and they're scoring 90 to 100 goals. And even though Sergio might have scored 30 of those, you're still getting 70 goals from the rest of the team. Like, what? That's to be a City fan and to just talk about that in a normal sense is insane. So, like I say, you know, they have that, they show that desire. They might not necessarily be the best 9 in the world, one of the best 9s in the world, like an Aguero. But when push comes to shove and a goal is needed, you'll see the same faces in the box, and they don't shy away from the opportunities.
It's going to be a difficult match today, Paul, but one man that is up top, Gabriel Jesus, he's not afraid to get stuck in. He's not afraid to work very hard when he is on the pitch, and he'll be looking to score plenty of goals today and run riot, let's say, have a bit of fun.
Yeah, and he'll be looking at this as a great opportunity. You know, obviously he's been out recently with COVID. Before that, a lot of pressure was on him because obviously Sergio had been out as well, and he.
Oh, getting involved.
Yeah.
There we go.
Does that translate from Scottish to English, is it, to try and get it done? So, but he'll look at today. You know, in the last couple of games that he's been involved in, he has looked a little bit tired. Whether that's the effect of COVID or not, possibly is, but. You know, as a striker, you go into every game when you score goals, and without being overconfident, you look at the opposition he's got today, and he'll see this as an opportunity to get back on track.
Where we are in the season, it's a very busy schedule right now. We've talked a little bit about that. In all 4 competitions still, in what is a very strange time for football and the world, but to still be involved in so many competitions, to have a League Cup final to look forward to, it's a great effort from this team. And I think when you do look at what they've managed to achieve so far this season, it can just get better and better.
Yeah, it certainly can. It certainly can. To be halfway through a season and to still have all your objectives still in play is huge, because some teams, especially given the fact that you maybe have injuries, you have people, say, contracting COVID, or, you know, other teams are doing whatever, like, it'd be very easy for them to say, well, we're just going to just focus on this or focus on that. But they've maintained their focus and the desire to win everything. You know, it's crazy as a concept, but that's what drives them. You know, that's essentially what for me is so impressive and what sets them apart from, say, other teams who say that they want to be near the top and say they want to win this and say they want to win that. The fact is, you know, there are only ever 1 or 2 teams who, when this time of the year comes, are actually still involved in all the things they said they were going to be.
Right, if you do watch us here and we're not really here, you'll know that around this time, 5 minutes before kick-off, we like to introduce our guest, the Mystery Blue, all right? Now, a bit of an apologies from the production team today because they've turned around and said it's too easy for everyone that has been watching at home. Too many people have been using the hashtag and they've been getting it right, including the people on the sofa as well. So we're going to make it a little bit more difficult for you guys today. We've got no clues whatsoever, all right? So let's introduce our Mystery Blue right here. For all the eagle-eyed fans at home.
Exactly who that is.
Oh, Nedum knows
exactly
it. Don't say who it is just yet, all right?
Who that is.
You're at home.
I thought they were going to make it hard.
If you think you know who it is, tweet your guess using WNRH, all right? Nedum and Paul, they've got it straight away. So if you have done the exact same, I want to hear from you as well. Don't spoil it just yet. I'm not sure if I trust you if you fully got it.
I hope we're right now.
Yeah. So make sure you do use that hashtag WNRH. All right, we do want to hear from you. Right, kickoff is shortly approaching, and it's time to get into the best bit of the show, I think. Predictions, where I get them horribly wrong. I normally, at the beginning of the season, was doing so well. I was getting them absolutely spot on. Me and Sean Goater were going head-to-head for the title. I've completely fallen off. So, Nedum, I need some tips. What score is it going to be?
Well, to be fair, when you get it wrong, you know you're trying to be wrong, so you're actually getting it right.
Oh, okay.
You see what I did there?
Wow. No, I didn't.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
let's hear the prediction.
So I'm going to say...
no, come on, get me.
I think I said 3-1. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm going to say 3-1.
3-1.
3-1 City, yeah.
Okay, all right, I like that. And Paul, what are you going for?
I'm going to go 3-0, another clean sheet.
Another clean sheet. Zach Stefan in net. He'll be very happy to hear that one right there. For me, I'm going to say 5-0. 5-0, lots of goals.
Serious, I told you. He's trying to get it wrong so that he's right about being wrong.
We'll see. We'll see. I definitely do not want to get it wrong. I will tell you that one right there. All of us are very, very confident. I feel like a lot of the players today, a lot of the fans, everyone's going to be extremely confident. But it's going to be tough, let's be honest.
Yeah, of course, any game of football is ultimately going to be tough, especially when you come up against a side who have not, it's a free hit, like the coach said himself. So if his players react in a way whereby they're going to be front foot, the game will not be easy for City. But then again, for City, they're players here who aren't playing week in, week out at the moment. This is a great opportunity and it's a test of their character. But I'm confident because there are enough players on the field, say like a Fernandinho, who won't allow the standards to drop. And when you have people like that on the field, you say ultimately you'll always end up doing better.
Yes, indeed. Manchester City taking on Cheltenham Town in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Swansea awaits in that 5th round, so hopefully we'll be able to get through this one right here. I mean, I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. I love the FA Cup. They can be cup sets at times as well, but hopefully they will not be won today. So we'll see what happens. All I know is we'll be here at half-time and full-time to dissect what has happened during the game. Make sure you do use that hashtag WNRH. We do want to hear from you, all right, your thoughts on it, how you're watching the game, what your thoughts on the scores will be. And all that's left to say, we'll see you at half-time.